That's a baby. Oh, no, that's the baby right there. Oh, look at that. Say Rhino.
Folks, let me give them the all clear, so as to say here in Harambe Chwende, let's go! Jumbo folks, my name is Lee and I'll be your guide for today's photo safari to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now while you're taking those photos today, hold on tightly to your cameras and phones. I'll be going over a lot of rough terrain, and if they fall out for any reason, we cannot go back to get them, so hold on tight. If you look above you, you'll see an animal spotting guide. I colored it myself last night. It'll help you identify some of the many animals you're going to get to see today. There's no guarantee we'll see all of them as they do run freely around the reserve, but I know all the best spots, so we usually have some pretty good luck, folks. Alright, here we go. Now we're going to start our safari today in the Little Ituri Forest. Now the animals here in the forest have a very natural camouflage that helps them blend in well with the brush, makes them pretty tough to spot. But we're going to see what we can find anyway. It looks like we're off to a great start, folks. Take a look over there to the right. You'll see some brown animals with zebra-striped legs. Wow. Those are called okapi. And even though they have those zebra-striped legs, they actually have no relation to the zebra at all. They're actually the only known relative of the giraffe. They have a lot of the same skeletal features as a giraffe. Their neck bones are just a little bit shorter. Well, a lot bit shorter.
Get it? I couldn't get it.
Now coming up here on the left-hand side, you're going to see a watering hole. Watering holes are important meeting places for many of the species here on the reserve. They're also a great place to spot some of the more rare ones. Oh, speaking of rare, folks, take a look over to the left. You're going to see a black rhino. There's only about 5,000 of those left in the world, so that's actually a great sight, folks. Oh, there's another one right here.
Oh, right here. Is he red?
Now, there's only about 5,000 of those left in the wild due to poaching for their horns. Those horns are made out of, not out of bone or ivory like most people think, but actually out of keratin, which is the same compound as our hair and fingernails. Oh, coming up here on the left-hand side, folks, you're going to see some tan animals over there. Those are greater kudu. Greater kudu are the second tallest antelope in all of Africa. And then those brown animals, those are called bongos. Bongos are often called the ghosts of the forest, because they're usually pretty tough to spot. Alrighty folks, we're going to head on over to the Safi River now. The Safi River is usually a great place to spot some hippos. They spend most of their time in the water, so that's a great place to look for them. However, they do come out to eat about 150 pounds of vegetation a day. So looking on the land wouldn't be a bad plan either. Oh, speaking of which, take a look over there to the right, folks. There is a large hippo feasting away. Unfortunately, I can't stop right here, folks. We usually see some more up around the corner as well. Now these large grayish white birds over here on the log to the left, those are pink-backed pelicans. They get that name from the pink patch of feathers that they grow on their back during mating season. And then over there to the right, there's a couple hippos. Oh, there's one right there underneath the water about to come up.
Yeah, you block me.
There you go, Caleb.
Now they hold their breath for about 5 to 8 minutes, but they can actually sleep completely under the water because their body will automatically resurface and take a breath every time they need to without them ever having to wake up.
That's incredible.
Now take a look over at the left-hand side, folks.
Look at it.
You're going to see a whole bunch of Nile Crocodile. Now, those Nile Crocodile get to be about 20 feet long, which is the same as the height of a giraffe. That means they're pretty big and pretty hungry, so we're going to get on out of here, folks. Now we're about to head on over to the Savannah. The Savannah is a completely different ecosystem with completely different animals. But you probably recognize a lot of the animals out here. They're pretty popular in the movies. What you might not recognize though is what's coming up here on the right-hand side. That is a baobab tree. Believe it or not, that tree will live to be about 2,000 years old. And it's often called the upside down tree because its branches look a lot like roots. And it also goes leafless about 9 months out of the year. Now we are heading out to the Serengeti Grasslands, folks. These Serengeti Grasslands stretch for hundreds of miles across the continent of Africa. And they're probably my favorite area of the reserve. And the reason for that is because they serve as the superhighway for millions of migrating species every year, as well as the home to some of the more famous ones like the giraffes and the elephants and things like that. So there's a lot of great stuff to see out here, a lot of different variety. You never know when or where we might see something and what it might be. So keep those cameras and phones ready and keep those eyes peeled. We're going to try and find as many things as we possibly can, folks. Now these reddish brown mounds you see all around us, those are not ant hills like most people think. They're actually termite mounds. They don't get to be as hard as concrete. The elephants like to use them as scratching posts, and once they've worn them down to where they look kind of like that one over there to the right, some of the antelope will actually climb up on top, and they'll use them as a lookout post to spot predators that might be lurking out in the grass. Let's see what else we can find out here, folks.
Some more termites.
Yep, there is something. Take a look over here to the left, folks. You're going to see an Ankoli cattle. Now, the horns on its head will get to be about 6 feet long. And actually, they do serve a purpose. They're not just there for show. They work kind of like a car radiator. They're filled with a honeycomb-like structure that supports a network of blood vessels. And their blood will pump up into those horns. Stay seated for me, folks. Their blood will pump up into those horns where it'll cool down and then circulate back down their body to help keep them nice and cool out here on the savannah. Now coming up here on the right, folks, we're going to see a whole tower of giraffes. Oh, there's some babies over there as well, folks. Now, as big as those babies are, they're probably only about 6 or 7 months old, so they're still actually very young. Giraffes running is actually very funny.
Wow.
They're so goofy looking. I love it. Now, giraffes are the tallest land animals in the world. They reach heights about 18 to 20 feet tall.
Wow.
You might notice on top of their heads they have those kind of like horn-like looking things.
Oh, yeah.
Those aren't actually horns. They're called ossicones. They're part of their skull, so their skull is actually shaped that way. Oh, there's some sable antelope there as well, folks.
Wow.
Now, those ossicones are one of these skeletal features that the giraffes share in common with that okapi we saw back in the forest. Now we're heading into Monkey Point, which gets its name from the troop of mandrills that like to hang around here. There's one right there, between those logs, and there's another one closer to us right here.
You see it? Yeah. See monkey?
Wow.
You see monkey? Look at it.
Alrighty, folks, we're going to head over to the red clay pits now, which is a great place to see some more elephants. I mean, not some more elephants. I didn't show that one to you yet, but there's an elephant right there.
Wow.
Zoom in.
That, of course, is an African elephant. Does anybody know how I know? Because we're in Africa, you're right. Also, if you look at their ears are shaped a lot like the shape of the continent of Africa, which is a great way of identifying them. Now, as I was about to say, we're heading up to the red clay pits. And unfortunately, to get there, we have to cross over this bridge. And I have to confess to everybody, I'm not a huge fan of this bridge. It's always looked a little neat and made. Oh, it looks so bad, folks. What do you think? Should we do it?